Hello friends, this is going to sound too good to be true, but you can make web applications from scratch using Cursor. Cursor is an open source project that uses AI for coding, and it literally uses the Visual Studio code, and so it looks exactly like Visual Studio, which you may already be familiar with, and you don't need any development experience to literally build actually useful web applications. And we're going to show one being built from scratch. So the first thing you want to do is go to github.com and make an account. So I already have one. This is my GitHub account. And the next thing you want to do is go to vercel.com and create an account. And the vercel.com just uses the same credentials as your GitHub account. The first time you log into Vercel, you will be presented with a page like this. And then kind of from there onwards, it would look like this. Either way, you can add a new project, which will bring you to that same kind of page as what I showed you in the previous screen. And then what we want to do, and again, I'll take you through this step by step, is click on Next.js boilerplate, and then just name it anything. So what we're going to do is make an application that lists AWS resources in a particular AWS account. And again, use your imagination. You can do anything. You can make a 3D Pong game. You can make an application that removes backgrounds from images and whatever you wish to do. So list AWS resources. So I'm just going to call it that. Create. While that's happening, I'm going to open up WSL, and I have already previously logged into my GitHub account. All right, so with my WSL open, what we're going to do is clone this repository. And this is going to ask for my username, my GitHub username. And then this is also going to ask for my GitHub. And to get the personal access code, you got to go to settings, and then go to developer settings, and then go to personal access tokens, and then go to tokens, and then create a token. And I will create a new token and put in my password. And we just need repo access. Okay, and I'll just let this expire quickly, and then generate the token, and then copy this token, and then put that in here. And obviously you have to download Cursor, so that's the main thing we're using. So go to Cursor, download Cursor, and then after you have it downloaded and opened, which I already have it open here, I'm going to open the repository that I just created. Okay, and it's AWS resources. Okay, select folder. So now this repository is open, and here is the main code in our repository. So now what we want to do is press Control I, and then now we can tell it whatever we want the application to do. I'm also going to view the terminal, and the terminal I want to open is for my WSL instance. If you have not installed WSL ahead of time, please do so. It's pretty easy to install. Just Google installing WSL, and it'll take you 10-15 minutes to download and install it with just a few commands. All right, so now what we want to do is, if we go back to the repository, the one we just created, it tells us exactly what to do, right? And so we can just do npm run dev. You have to install npm as well. And again, just Google how to install that in your WSL instance. So I already have it installed. And so this command will install all the packages needed to run the application as is. And it installs a bunch of packages that are needed just kind of for baseline. And then npm run dev. And so then this will run a local dev instance of this application. So we haven't done anything. This is just what Vercel gave to us by default. So I'm going to open that application. And again, this application doesn't do anything. It just kind of shows this page. So So now we'll do the fun stuff, which is, so what I want to do is create an application that takes input, secret access code and access ID as input, and scans an AWS account, your own AWS account, and lists all the resources that are being used in that account. So let's do exactly that. So you can see I have not touched the code here, right? And so I'm going to tell it to do exactly that, right? So just to get ready to do that, I'm going to just quickly go into my AWS account and go to user and then credentials and then create an access key and then just name it anything, create access key. And then now I have a access key and secret access key. Okay. So create an application that takes an AWS access key ID and secret access key as input and lists all the resources in the AWS account and provides hyperlinks to those resources. Okay, so sometimes you get lucky and things just work, and sometimes you have to kind of go back and forth. So let's see how this works out. So it tells you, okay, we need some more packages, right? So I'm gonna create another terminal, and we want to actually create or open up a WSL terminal, install some more packages. So it tells you what packages you need to install. So you just literally copy and paste a command, right? And so this is saying that this will fetch EC2 instances, S3 buckets, and RDS. And I want a little bit more. So let's tell it to make sure to include, let's also include resources from AWS Certificate Manager and Route 53. And VPC and Route 53 services. Okay. So we need some more packages for that. Okay. So it's installing that. Well, I'm installing that, and it's literally building the code as we speak. One setting that has been very useful that my friend Ditto also showed me how to change is going to the VS Code settings here, and then auto saving. So changing the auto save delay to 100 milliseconds, and then choosing auto save here. All right, so we'll go back to our code, and then we'll accept all the changes that it has given us, and then we'll go to our application. So our application is, where is the application? Here it is. Here it is. See, this application is running on our local host. And so here I can give it an access key ID and secret access key, right? And so I'll just copy and paste that directly from my account, from my AWS account. Okay. And then let's see if this works. And we ran into an error. And this is not unusual, so that's perfectly fine. Let's try that again. So I didn't like something. So what we can do is just troubleshoot. So we can debug here as well. So I'm getting error. Okay, so now it's making a change that should hopefully fix this error. So let's see if that works. And so while that's loading, I'm just going to quickly show you something. So I have already created this application before. So if I go back to my repository and my GitHub account and repositories, I already have this application that it already exists. And it took me about an hour to make it, and it was just kind of going back and forth. And this one has more features. So it lists the AWS resources, but also has a map as well, visual map as well. So let's see if that is fixed now. So we'll just click accept all and go back to our application. Okay, and try that again. secret access key. All right, so maybe some stuff is happening now. There you go. So this went into my AWS account and listed all the AWS resources. And then I can now click on these resources and actually go directly to them. And you know, it's taking me to the right places. And yeah, so we just created an application that can list resources within of an AWS account. And so this is something really valuable. And I basically did the same thing before as well, and using Cursor and spent more time on it. And what that allowed me to do is create this application, which uh, results in, which shows in addition to showing the list of all the resources, also shows a map as well, and then the connections between the different components as well. And this was again done in a relatively small account with just a few handful of resources, but you can repeat this and use this in a larger account and actually get more useful results. And you can change things as you go, and you just literally go into Cursor and tell it whatever you want to change. And so I'll just do one more quick change and then call it a day. So change the background to purple, right? And it's going to do that, and we'll just go back to the application. Oh, it didn't like something. No, it's still updating. Okay. There you go. Now the background is purple. And so, basically you can do whatever you want. And so that was just an additional silly example. But, we actually did something useful with this as well. Yeah, so we created a cool application. Hopefully you found that useful.